Hey guys, this is a candle lit for the Titanic, submersive, the 5 innocent lives. I have another one lit over here, guys. I'm so sorry to their families and prayer for them families. Breaks my heart. I wanted to light a candle for them. I'm so sorry. I wish there was something I could do. I'm so sorry. And then here's the other one, guys. I got 2 candles lit for him. One for my papa today is his 2nd year in heaven, and then one for them. And then, of course, we're talking about grief tonight. So, yeah. I'll say my hellos here in a minute, guys. I just wanted to light a candle for them and for my papa. I'm so sorry. I've been following it ever since Riff told me. And it's heartbreaking. It really is. And I don't know if the families will ever see this, but it's on YouTube. So if they ever do, I'm sorry. And I send my condolences to all you 5 people that that passed away on the Titan submersive going towards the Titanic. So this candle is lit for you guys in remembrance, and I hope you guys rest in peace. And I'm so sorry. I would hate to go that way, but I hope you did not suffer. I hope you did not suffer. I'm so sorry to y'all's families, and I'm praying for y'all. I might not know y'all personally, but I can still pray for you guys. So this candle is lit in remembrance of them. Like I said, that's just how I am. I'm a caring person. And when you follow the story, like you can ask Rebel, I've been following the story ever since Riff told me. And I'll tell Rebel, has there been any update? Has there been any update? So this is for you guys. So I hope y'all rest in peace. And prayers for y'all's family. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm gonna leave it up over here. All right. Yes, it does. It breaks my heart because and a lot of people say that I'm an empath, so I guess I am. I just care, you know. And then when you follow stories, you know, you seem like you get attached to it, you know. And then like I said, I'll say my hellos here in a minute, guys. I don't want y'all to think that I forgot about y'all, because I didn't. But today it marks my grandfather's 2 years in heaven. So this candle's for him. And his favorite color was blue. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but it's blue. I love you, Papa. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to start and then cry, you know. I'm just today has been kind of a rough day. You find out about those innocent lives, and then on top of it, my grandfather, the only grandfather that I ever knew, because my other grandfather on my sperm donor side died when I was like 2 or 3. So that's the only grandfather I ever knew. So I just miss him, guys. Bless their souls, and I just hope, like I said, I hope and pray they didn't suffer. My grandfather, he fell asleep and didn't wake up, and they said that they think he had a heart attack. So I'm just glad that he's not suffering no more, but it still sucks. It still sucks. Grief sucks, guys. And I know that we're talking about it tonight. And I set this up before I even knew of the Titanic, of what happened to the little submersive and all those 5 innocent lives. I set this up way beforehand. So I guess it's something told me in my heart, and not told me in my heart, to talk about it. You know what I mean? So let me go in here and say my hellos to everybody. I just wanted to light a candle for them and let them know that they're prayed, they're, rest in peace, and their families are being prayed for. And I'm so sorry. Hey, gone girl. Good to see you, love. I know you had to go. I understand, guys. I'm trying to make it a triggering. We're going to go over some information of grief, and it's not just lost loved ones. It's other things as well that you can grieve over. And then we're going to go over like the positive, like how you could still live your life positive with grief, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try to make it as less triggering as possible, but I do want to light a candle for all those 5 innocent lives on the Titan submersive, or submersible. I'm probably saying it wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And my papa, today marks his 2-year anniversary in heaven, and he's my angel. So I just wanted to light a candle for them. So hey, Jennifer B, good to see you, love. I hope you're doing good, darling. Hey, Rift, good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing okay. Hey, hippie grandma, good to see you, honey. Hope you're doing good. Hey, Miss Pat, good to see you. Hope you're doing good, honey. Hey, Stories with LJ, good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well. Virtual hugs to you too, Gone Girl. I know you might not be watching, but maybe you can go back and watch it. But virtual hugs, honey, I love you. Hey, Digger Duck, good to see you, love. Hope you're doing okay, honey. Hey, Summer Thunder, good to see you, honey. Hope you're doing all right. And Miss Sharon, good to see you. Hope you're doing okay, honey. Hello, BM, good to see you, honey. Hope you're doing all right, darling. I love you too, Gone Girl, honey. I understand. Hello, Mary Jane. Good to see you, love. I hope you're doing okay, honey. Thank you, Summer. Thank you, honey. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't suffer either. I heard that it was, like I think a millisecond or something, like real quick, but still, I'm just glad that they didn't. It just, it's just to think about it. It's very, very scary. I was scared for them, and my anxiety was racing. Like I was really scared for them, guys. But unfortunately, the Titanic took 5 more souls. And I hate to say that, but I mean, if you think about it, it's true. Like I said, I hate to say that. I really do. Thank you so much, Tigger Duck, honey. Thank you, love. Love you too, Jennifer B, honey. Thank you, Stories with LJ, sweetie. Thank you, honey. Yeah, I feel that he's watching over me. Guys, I'll tell y'all this little story. It might put a smile on your face to positive up the mood. I mean, I'm not trying to be, come in here all sad and doom and gloom, but I'm just trying to, bring remembrance to those innocent souls and to my grandfather. So, hello, Demetrius. Good to see you, honey. Hope you're doing well. Okay, you're fine. I know people say, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mary Jane. People say with time it gets better, but I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I personally don't think that it does. I think it gets worse because you miss them more, Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, guys. I know it's heartbreaking, guys. It's heartbreaking. I'm one of those people, I can't help but care, even though I've never met them in person. I don't know them from Adam. It's just when you read it constantly, it feels like that them, and you kind of you're feeling, all the empathy and all the worry and the anxiety of like what they're going through, and it's just, you just can't help but be concerned. You just can't help it. You can't help but worry. I mean, not really worry, but just like concerned. Are they going to make it? Yes, absolutely, Jennifer, honey. I'm glad that they found the debris too, because if they wouldn't have found the debris, they would have still been searching and searching and searching. And heaven forbid, they would have never found it. So at least they knew something. Oh, I feel bad for the younger man too. He was only like 18 or 19 years old. It breaks my heart. It's so sad, guys. But make sure you guys hit that like when y'all come in. If y'all haven't subbed up, please hit the sub up. Hey, Criminal Meg, good to see you, love. I hope you're doing well, darling. All right, guys, I'm going to go over, like I said, I'm going to go over grief, but it shouldn't be too triggering because I try to go over it, like, as in just kind of what it is. And then we're going to go over, like, the positive emotions. Like, still, if you could still live with it, but still try to be positive too, So, let me pull up my stream, guys. And I'm going to try my very best to keep my composure, even though it's a sad day all the way around. It's a sad day all the way around, Okay, y'all just bear with me, guys. I'll try my very best. I know that's what's heartbreaking, Digger Duck, honey. That's what's heartbreaking. Well, what in the world? Hold on, guys. Okay, it says coping with grief and loss. Whatever type of loss you suffer, there's no right or wrong way to grieve. But by understanding the stages and types of grief, you can find healthier ways to cope. What is grief? Grief is a natural response to loss. It is the emotional suffering you feel when something or someone you love is taken away. Often the pain of loss can feel overwhelming. You may experience all kinds of difficult and unexpected emotions, from shock or anger to disbelief, guilt, and profound sadness. The pain of grief can also disrupt your physical health, making it difficult to sleep, eat, or even think straight. These are normal reactions to loss, and the more significant the loss, the more intense your grief will be. Hello, Beachy. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well, darling. Hold on a minute, guys. My thing's acting crazy. Give me just a minute. Yes, it is, guys. Well, this it keeps on. I know my computer's being crazy. I had to exit out because it was going crazy on me. Hold on a minute, guys. See, it wants to start all over. Give me just a minute, guys. I'm sorry. Um, These are normal reactions to loss, and the more significant the loss, the more intense your grief will be. Coping with the loss of someone or something you love is one of life's biggest challenges. You may associate grieving with the death of a loved one, which is often the cause of the most intense type of grief, but any loss can cause grief. Divorce or relationship breakup, loss of health, losing a job, loss of financial stability, a miscarriage, retirement, death of a pet, loss of a cherished dream, a loved one's serious illness, loss of a friendship, loss of safety after trauma, and selling the home. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Jennifer B. I heard that he didn't want to go and that he was very scared, and that and the only reason that he went is to spend time with his dad for Father's Day. Is the only reason that young boy went. That's what I came across. Um, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I came across and read. It's very sad, very sad. He said, even the subtle losses in life can trigger a sense of grief. For example, you might grieve after moving away from a home, graduating from college, or changing jobs. Whatever your loss is personal to you, so don't feel ashamed about how you feel or believe that it's somehow only appropriate to grieve for certain things. If a person, animal, relationship, or situation was significant to you, it's normal to grieve the loss you're experiencing. Whatever the cause of your grief, though, there are healthy ways to cope with the pain that in time can ease your sadness and help you to come to terms with your loss, find new meaning, and eventually move on with your life. The grief of losing a loved one, whether it's a close friend, spouse, partner, parent, child, or other relative. Few things are as painful as losing someone you love. After such a significant loss, life may never seem quite the same again. But in time, you can ease your sorrow, start to look to the future, and eventually come to terms with your loss. The grieving process. Grieving is a highly individual experience. There's no right or wrong way to grieve. How you grieve depends on many factors, including your personality and coping style, your life experience, your faith, and how significant the loss was to you. Inevitably, the grieving process takes time. Healing happens gradually. It can't be forced or hurried, and there is no normal timetable for grieving. Some people start to feel better in weeks or months. For others, the grieving process is measured in years. Whatever your grief experience, it's important to be patient with yourself and allow the process to naturally unfold. Myths and facts about grief and grieving. Myth: the pain will go away faster if you ignore it. Fact: trying to ignore your pain or keep it from surfacing will only make it worse in the long run. For real healing, it is necessary to face your grief and actively deal with it. Myth: it's important to be strong in the face of loss. Fact: feeling sad, frightened, or lonely is a normal reaction to loss. Crying doesn't mean you're weak. You don't need to protect your family or friends by putting on a brave front. Showing your true feelings can help them and you. Myth: if you don't cry, it means you aren't sorry about the loss. Fact: crying is a normal response to sadness, but it's not the only one. Those who don't cry may feel the pain just as deeply as others. They may simply have other ways of showing it. Myth: grieving should last about a year. Fact: there is no specific time frame for grieving. How long it takes differs from person to person. Myth: moving on when your life means forgetting about your loss. Fact: moving on means you accepted your loss, and that's not the same as forgetting. You can move on with your life and keep the memory of someone or something you lost as an important part of you. In fact, as we move through life, these memories can become more and more integral to defining the people we are. How to deal with the grieving process. While grieving a loss is an inevitable part of life, there are ways to help cope with the pain. Come to terms with your grief and eventually find a way to pick up the pieces and move on with your life. Number 1 is acknowledge your pain. Number 2, accept that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. Number 3, understand that your grieving process will be unique to you. Number 4, seek out face-to-face support from people who care about you. Number 5, support yourself emotionally by taking care of yourself physically. Number 6, recognize the difference between grief and depression. What are the 5 stages of grief? In 1969, psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross introduced what became known as the 5 stages of grief. These stages of grief were based on her studies of the feelings of patients facing terminal illness, but many people have generalized them to other types of negative life changes and losses, such as death of a loved one or a breakup. The 5 stages of grief. Denial: this can't be happening to me. Anger: why is this happening? Who is to blame? Bargaining: make this not happen, and in return I will, whatever the bargain might be. Depression: I'm too sad to do anything. Acceptance: I'm at peace with what happened. If you're experiencing any of these emotions following a loss, it may help you to know that your reaction is natural and that you need time to heal. However, not everyone who grieves goes through all these stages, and that's okay. Contrary to popular belief, you do not have to go through each stage in order to heal. In fact, some people resolve their grief without going through any of these stages. And if you do go through these stages of grief, you probably won't experience them in a neat sequential order. So don't worry about what you should be feeling or what stage you're supposed to be in. Kubler-Ross herself never intended for these stages to be a rigid framework that applies to everyone who mourns. In her last book before her death in 2004, she said the 5 stages of grief, they were never meant to help tuck messy emotions into neat packages. They are responses to loss that many people have, but there is not a typical response to loss, and there is no typical loss. Our grieving is individual as our lives. Grief can be a roller coaster instead of series of stages. We might also think of the grieving process as a roller coaster, full of ups and downs, highs and lows. Like many roller coasters, the ride tends to be rougher in the beginning. The lows may be deeper and longer. The difficult periods should become less intense and shorter as time goes by, but it takes time to work through a loss. Even years after a loss, especially at special events such as a family wedding or the birth of a child, we may still experience a strong sense of grief. Enjoy your dinner, Rift. Symptoms of grief. While loss affects people in different ways, many of us experience the following symptoms when we're grieving. Just remember that almost anything that you experience in the early stages of grief is normal, including feeling like you're going crazy, feel like you're in a bad dream, or questioning your religious or spiritual beliefs. Emotional symptoms of grief. Shock and disbelief. Right after a loss, it can be hard to accept what happened. You may feel numb, have trouble believing that the loss really happened, or even deny the truth. If a pet or someone you love has died, For example, you may keep expecting them to show up even though you know they're gone. Sadness, profound sadness, is probably the most universally experienced symptom of grief. You may have feelings of emptiness, despair, yearning, or deep loneliness. You may also cry a lot or feel emotionally unstable. Guilt. You may regret or feel guilty about things you did or didn't say or do. You may also feel guilty about certain things, feeling relieved when a person died after a long, difficult illness, for example. You may even feel guilty for not doing more to prevent your loss, even if it was completely out of your hands. Fear of significant loss can trigger a host of worry and fears. If you lost your partner, your job, your home, for example, you may feel anxious, helpless, or insecure about the future. You may even have panic attacks. The death of a loved one can trigger fears about your own mortality, of facing life without that person or the responsibilities you now face alone. You're welcome, Rift. Anger. Even if the loss was nobody's fault, you may feel angry and resentful. If you lost a loved one, you may be angry with yourself, God, the doctors, or even the person who died for abandoning you. You may feel the need to blame someone for the injustice that was done to you. Physical symptoms of grief. We often think of grief as a strictly emotional process, but grief often involves physical problems, including fatigue, nausea, lower immunity, weight loss or weight gain, aches and pains, and insomnia. Types of grief. Since the experience of grieving follows the loss of someone or something important to you, tends to be unique to you, it's difficult to label any type of grief as either normal or abnormal. However, there are types of grief that fall outside the expected symptoms and reactions described above. These include anticipatory grief. As the name suggests, anticipatory grief develops before a significant loss occurs rather than after. If a loved one is terminally ill, for example, you have an aging pet, or you know that your retirement or job loss is immediate, you may start grieving your loss before it is fully unfolded. Like conventional grief, anticipatory grief can involve a mix of confusing emotions, particularly anger. Some people even equate it to giving up hope and refuse to allow themselves to grieve before the loss has occurred. However, anticipatory grief can also give you a chance to prepare your loss, resolve any unfinished business, or say your goodbyes, for example, or I say see ya. Disenfranchised grief. Disenfranchised grief can occur when your loss is devalued, stigmatized, or can't be openly mourned. Some people may minimize the loss of a job, a pet, or a friendship, for example, as something that's not worth grieving over. You may feel stigmatized if you suffer a miscarriage or lost a loved one to unaliven themselves. Disenfranchised grief can also occur when your relationship to a deceased is not recognized. Some people may consider it inappropriate to grieve for a work colleague, classmate, or neighbor, for example. As a close friend or same-sex partner, you may be denied the same sympathy and understanding as a blood relative. This can make it even more difficult to come to the terms with your loss and navigate the grieving process. Complicated grief. The pain of the significant loss may never completely disappear, but it should ease over time. When it doesn't, and it keeps you from resuming your daily life and relationships, it may be a sign of complicated grief. Complicated grief usually arises from a death of a loved one, where the loss has left you stuck in a state of bereavement. You may be able to accept your loved one has gone, search for them in familiar places, experience intense longing, or feel like that life isn't worth living. If you're experiencing complicated grief and the pain from your loss remains unsolved, it's important to reach out for support and take the steps that will enable you to heal. Seeking support for grief and loss. The pain of grief can often cause you to want to withdraw from others and retreat into your shell. By having the face-to-face support of other people is vital to healing from loss. Even if you're not comfortable talking about your feelings under normal circumstances, it's important to express them when you're grieving. While sharing your loss can make the burden of grief easier to carry, that doesn't mean that every time you interact with friends and family, you need to talk about your loss. Comfort can also come from just being around others who care about you. The key is not to isolate yourself. Turn to friends and family members. Now is the time to lean on the people who you care about, even if you take pride in being strong and self-sufficient. Rather than avoiding them, draw friends and loved ones close. Spend time together face to face and accept the assistance that's offered. Often people want to help but don't know how, so tell them what you need, whether it's a shoulder to cry on, a listening ear, or just someone to hang with. If you don't feel you have anyone you can regularly connect with in person, it's never too late to build new friendships. Hey, Demetrius. Accept that many people feel awkward when trying to comfort someone who's grieving. Grief can be confusing, sometimes frightening emotion for many people, especially if they haven't experienced a similar loss themselves. They may feel unsure about how to comfort you and end up saying or doing the wrong things. But don't use it as an excuse to retreat into your shell and avoid social contact. If a friend or loved one reaches out to you, it's because they care. Draw comfort from your faith. If you follow a religious tradition, embrace the comfort its morning rituals can provide. Spiritual activities that are meaningful to you, such as praying, meditating, or going to church, can offer solace. If you're questioning your faith in the wake of a loss, talk to the clergy member or others in your religious community. Join a support group. Grief can feel very lonely, even when you have loved ones around. Sharing your sorrow with others who have experienced similar losses can help. To find a bereavement support group in your area, contact local hospitals, hospices, funeral homes, and counseling centers, or see the links below. It says, beware how you use social media. Social media can be useful in letting others know about your loss and reaching out for support. However, it can also attract internet trolls who post inappropriate, insensitive, or even abusive messages. Yeah, that's not going to happen here, guys. That's not going to happen here. To spare yourself additional pain and heartache at this time, you may want to limit your social media use to closed groups rather than public postings that can be commented on by anyone. Taking care of yourself as you grieve. When you're grieving, it's more important than ever to take care of yourself. The stress of a major loss can quickly deplete your energy and emotional reserves. Looking after your physical and emotional needs will help you get through this difficult time. Face your feelings. You can try to suppress your grief, but you can't avoid it forever. In order to heal, you have the acknowledge the pain. Trying to avoid feelings of sadness and loss only prolongs the grieving process. Unresolved grief can also lead to complications such as depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and health problems. Express your feelings in a tangible or creative way. Even if you're not able to talk about your loss with others, it can help to write down your thoughts and feelings in a journal, for example. Or you could release your emotions by making a scrapbook or volunteering for a cause related to your loss. I'm sorry, you guys. Try to maintain your hobbies and interests. There's comfort in routine and getting back to the activities that bring you joy and connect you closer to others can help you come to terms with your loss and aid the grieving process. Well, happy early birthday, Jennifer, honey. If you're still here after midnight, or before I get off here, then we will play you a happy birthday song. Don't let anyone tell you how you feel, and don't tell yourself how to feel either. Your grief is your own, and no one else can tell you when it's time to move on or get over it. Let yourself feel whatever you feel without embarrassment or judgment. It's okay to be angry, to yell at the heavens, to cry or not to cry. It's also okay to laugh, to find moments of joy, and to let go when you're ready. Look after your physical health. The mind and body are connected. When you feel healthy physically, you'll be better able to cope emotionally. Combat stress and fatigue by getting enough sleep, eating right, and exercising. Don't use alcohol or drugs to numb the pain or grief or lift your mood artificially. Plan ahead for grief triggers. Anniversaries, holidays are important. Milestones can reawaken painful memories and feelings. Be prepared for an emotional wallop and know that it's completely normal. You can plan ahead by making sure that you're not alone, for example, or by marking your loss in a creative way. Hey, Wild Angel, good to see you, honey. It says for more help facing up to and managing distressing emotions like grief. There's like grief and loss resources. I'll just leave them on the screen for just a minute. This is UK, this is Australia, and this is the US for like helplines. Anybody needs it. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but I'm so sorry, Gone Girl. I know this is, more of a triggering, but I want to bring awareness to this too, because I know everybody suffers with grief, and some people don't really, they know they have emotions, but they don't really know how to handle themselves. They don't know what to do, so I'm just, it's actually, support. And then I'm not going to say that word, but this is, if you're feeling this word, and this is the US number, this is the UK number, and then this is the Australian number. I don't know any other numbers, but I mean, these are I know we have a lot of UKs in here, we have a lot of US in here, and I know we have several Australians in here. So if you know of anybody that needs to use these numbers, please send them to them. You can always, this is on my YouTube, it's not going down, so you can always come back and get these numbers if you need to. And then here's the grief line for Australia, UK, and the US, if anybody needs it. All right, guys, let's see. It says the 5 stages of grief after a loss. I'm okay, honey. Today's my papa's 2-year anniversary in heaven. So I have this candle's about, it just went out. The little candle just went out, guys. I might relight it here in a minute. I don't know if the wick's real long, but I still have this one lit. Says 5 stages of grief after a loss. What to expect after the unthinkable happens. There's no way around it. Grief is never easy, and though we tend to associate grief with death, other life events can trigger grief too, from the end of a relationship to the loss of a job to financial hardships. Grief is a natural response to any kind of loss, says clinical psychologist Regina Giselle. People experience it in different ways, but typically it includes a variety of intense emotions like sadness, anger, irritability, and guilt. Hello, True Seeker. Good to see you, honey. I hope you're doing well, darling. Dr. Giselle explains the 5 stages of grief, including what they are, how they manifest, and when to seek support from a therapist who can help you cope. What are the 5 stages of grief? Swiss American psychiatrist and researcher Elizabeth Kubler-Ross first outlined the first 5 stages of grief, sometimes called the Kubler-Ross model, in her 1969 book on death and dying. Dr. Kubler-Ross spent her career studying the dying process and the impact of death on survivors. Dr. Giselle says she outlined the 5-stage protocol of dying to help us understand the process. This protocol was later applied to those impacted by someone else's death. Keep in mind that these stages are meant to be descriptive and don't necessarily apply to everyone or happen in an order presented. The 5 stages of grief can be summarized as denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, like we was just talking about a few minutes ago. Number 1, denial. You let go from your job, but the next day you still get up early and start to get ready to head to the office, just in case your boss changes their mind. Your grandmother recently passed, but you still feel like she might pick up the phone if you call to say hello. Denial refers to the difficulty comprehending the reality of loss. Dr. Giselle explains it can take a while to wrap your head around the fact that you experienced a significant loss, that things are different and they're not going back to the way they were. Symptoms of denial during the grieving process may include believing that there's been a mistake and your loved one is not actually grown or gone, refusing to discuss your loss or acting like everything is okay when you do, busy yourself with work or other things so you don't have to confront your feelings of loss, pretending like your loved one has gone on vacation or will be back soon, continuing to speak about your lost loved one in the present tense. Number 2, anger. Anger is perfectly natural response, and in the case of a loss, it can be directed at a variety of sources. Dr. Giselle says it can also manifest as blame, the feeling that someone else is at fault for your loss. You might feel angry with yourself for someone's perceived role in the loss, or even at your loved one for passing away. Maybe you're mad at the doctors or first responders for letting your loved one pass away, or at God for letting something so unfair and tragic happen. As with every single other stage of grief, these emotions can be experienced in reaction to non-death losses too. Say you lost your job and feel angry at the coworker who took on your workload, or you couldn't afford your mortgage and had to sell your family home, leaving you feeling angry with politicians about the state of the economy. Your anger could also be less targeted, less sensible. Sometimes you're just angry at innocent bystanders, like the guy in the checkout line at the grocery store who looked at you funny. Dr. Giselle says it's not always rational. Number 3 is bargaining. The bargaining process sometimes happens before your loss has fully occurred. Like when you think, if I recover from cancer, I promise I'll start going back to church every week. Or if my husband pulls through this heart attack, I'll never argue with him again. And it can take a place afterwards too, in the form of if only thinking. If only we'd gone to a different doctor, maybe she could have been treated in time. If only we hadn't gone on vacation, he wouldn't have contracted this disease. If only I gotten my dog an electric collar, she wouldn't have ran out into the street. This may not look like bargaining, but Dr. Giselle says the thinking is similar. We engage in types of mental gymnastics to try to undo something that we can't undo, she explains. Number 4 is depression. It's natural to be sad when someone you love passes away or when you experience another major loss. Symptoms of depression stage of grief can include loss of hope about the future, feeling directionless, lost or confused about your life, difficulty concentrating, difficulty making decisions. Grief-related depression can cause physical symptoms too, like aches and pains and changes in sleep patterns. Studies show that it can even cause increased inflammation in your body, which can worsen existing health issues and lead to new ones. Hold on a minute, guys. Hello, Total Cutie. Hello, sweetie. Welcome, honey. Thank you so much for being in here, honey. We're going over the grieving process, and today was my 2-year heavenly anniversary for my papa, and I lit a candle for the for my grandfather and for the innocent lives on the Titan submersive that they found. I don't know what it was called. Pretty much in pieces. Trigger warning, guys. But I lit a candle for them too, and sorry for their loss. But welcome, honey. Thank you so much for being in here, love. It says grief-related depression can cause physical symptoms too, like aches and pains and changes in sleep patterns. Studies show that it can even cause increased inflammation in your body, which can worsen existing health issues and lead to new ones. The depression stage of grieving isn't the same as major depressive disorder, also known as major depression or clinical depression, a mental health condition that combines a number of emotional, cognitive, and physical symptoms. However, grief can turn into clinical depression, so it's really important that you address your grief while you're experiencing it. I know. Thank you so much, honey. I know the same. I know the same thing. I would love to have a hug by him. He was just a little guy. I'll show y'all a picture here in a little bit. He's just a little fella, but he was hilarious. Oh Lord, he was a hoot. He loved to laugh. He loved to cut up. Number 5 is acceptance. The sadness and sense of loss, of grief may never fully fade, but the acceptance stage represents learning to live with the loss, a newfound ability to acknowledge the reality of your loss and to allow sorrow and joy to live alongside one another. In this stage of grief, you're no longer immobilized by your sadness. For example, you can hear a song on the radio that reminds you of your loved one without bursting into tears. Acceptance is a sense of understanding that there's finality to what has happened, Dr. Giselle says. You can hold on to your sadness while still experiencing good memories of the past and maintaining hope for the future. What's up, Ghost Devil? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. How long does grief last? There's no set timeline for grief, and anyone who can tell you to move on or get over it is underestimating and misunderstanding the weight of loss. That said, the length of your grieving process depends on what kind of grief you're experiencing. Uncomplicated grief, sometimes referred to as normal grief, most of the symptoms, including the 5 stages, happen within the first 2 years of loss. Complicated grief, this type of profound, intense grief, extends for a prolonged period of time and can be debilitating. In some sense, of course, all grief is complicated, stirring a tide of emotion that feel anything but straightforward, and many of the signs and symptoms of complicated grief are the same as those of uncomplicated grief. In uncomplicated grief, though, the intensity of those reactions soften with time. Complicated grief, on the other hand, is more intense, persistent, and prolonged, significantly interfering with a return to normal life. Absolutely, Sharon. Absolutely. When to ask for help if you're experiencing intense emotional distress or struggling to return to your regular routine after your loss, consider seeking the help of a therapist. Talking about your loss, sharing your distress, and having your grief witnessed can significantly facilitate the healing process. The bottom line, Dr. Giselle says, is simple. If you feel you're suffering, go talk to somebody. And then these are the two positive ones, or how to live it in like a positive way, you know. It is hard to ask for help, but sometimes you have to. Total cutie. Your name is so cute. I love it. It's so cute. Like I said, welcome. Yeah, Ghost Devil, Mama Digger said that you was sleeping. Says positive emotions in the grieving process. What we know, positive emotions are surprisingly prevalent among the bereaved, even relatively soon after the loss. In one study on coping with the loss of an infant to SIDS, nearly half of his parents were experiencing positive emotions 3 months after the death. Hello, Sub-Zero. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well, honey. Positive emotions need not to intense or prolong to produce beneficial effects. In fact, mourners with just a minimum amount of positive emotions and a great deal of negative emotion do better than those with no positive emotions at all. Positive and negative emotions are independent of one another and co-occur alongside of one another. Positive emotions play a role in regulating depression and other negative emotions that are associated with grief. Those who show more positive emotions in the first few months following the loss are likely to exhibit less grief and distress in the future. Shifting mourners' focus from negative emotions to positive ones provides a psychological break or respite and also allows them to replenish their resources. Positive emotions can improve the way people cope with their loss as a result of gaining some distance from negative emotions and being restored and replenished by positive emotions. Mourners are more able to focus their attention on the tasks that are most important to them and make progress on these tasks. I'm doing okay, Sub-Zero Flames, honey. Today's my like I said, I lit a candle for the people that was on the Tiding Submersive, the 5 innocent lives. And I also lit a candle because today is my Pawpaw's 2-year heavenly anniversary. And here's the candle. My other candle went out, but here's the candle. So that's why I'm kind of dark. I'm trying to, be, I guess you could say, remembrance. Let's see. It's difficult to experience positive emotions following some kinds of loss than others. For example, those who loved one dies unexpectedly are likely to show lower levels of positive emotion than those whose loved one's death was expected. Can positive emotions be enhanced? Available evidence suggests that it is indeed possible to be bereaved to enhance their positive emotions. Two approaches for enhancing positive emotions are engagement and focus on what matters now. Engagement. Many studies have shown that becoming involved in activities that engage one interest is quite effective in channeling positive emotions. In fact, cognitive and behavioral interventions for depression have often relied on this approach. Being involved in engaging activity can break the grip of negative thoughts, or at least temporarily. Examples of engaging activities include going shopping, attending a sporting event with a friend, taking your dog for a walk, or going to the library. Involvement in an engaging activity will increase positive effect more than involvement in an activity that is less engaging. However, experts concur that involvement in just about any activity is better than not being involved, because bereavement is often accompanied by the profound loss of interest in life. It may be difficult for mourners to become engaged in particular tasks. A strategy for breaking through mourners' resistance is to encourage them to spend 5 minutes on a potentially engaging task and telling them that they can stop after that. In most cases, mourners continue with the task once they are drawn into it. In some cases, people are able to make an accurate assessment of what activities will engage them. In other cases, this may not be possible. As one woman indicated following the death of her husband, one of my coworkers invited me to go line dancing with her after work. I've never tried line dancing, and I hate dancing, so my expectations were low. To my surprise, it was a lot of fun, and we're going to go out. We are going to go again next week. Focusing on what matters now. This approach for enhancing positive emotions asks mourners to consider the following question. Given everything that has happened, what matters to me at this point in my life? One woman, when lost her older son, decided that what mattered now was to be the best possible mother to her surviving son. I arranged a sleepover for my son and cooked him his favorite dinner. It made me feel happy, she said. A woman whose husband had died decided that what mattered now was staying healthy so she could raise her children. I canceled my 2 previous scheduled mammograms, but this time I kept my appointment. It felt good to do something for my family, she said. To some people, what matters now is working to prevent what happened to the loved one from happening to others. Such individuals are often drawn to organizations such as Mothers Against Drunk Driving, where they are able to contribute energy and passion to the cause. It is important to know that bereaved person, what matters now may not be the same as what mattered then. Example, before the loss. As one woman explained, before my daughter's death, I was obsessed with decorating the house. This has no importance to me now. Utilizing these approaches can empower mourners to help them reclaim control of their lives. The research shows that a small increase in positive emotions can produce beneficial effects. The more one engages in these practices, the more positive emotions will continue to increase. This can result in an upward spiral of well-being characterized by better relationships within the family, a greater feeling of connection with extended family and friends, and a greater appreciation for what is important. That's the positive emotions in the grieving process. And guys, I have one more, and it's a positive side one too. It says grief silver linings, 5 positive things that will come with great loss. One of the most amazing parts about being human is that we are all so unique. You might find similarities with friends and companions, but at our cores, we are distinctly diverse. However, one thread that connects everyone is emotion. We've all felt happy, sad, excited, nervous, fearful, and angry. But the one emotion I find the most fascinating is grief. Grief has the ability to be all-consuming. It can swallow you up whole, locking you in its tormented abyss. It's an emotion that more often than not you have to claw your way out of. Grief is something that once burned so deeply within me, I wasn't sure if I would ever overcome it. Clinical psychologist and author Kay Redfield Jameson writes, grief is so human and it hits everyone at one point or another, at least in their lives. If you love, you will grieve, and that's just given. We will all grieve at some point in our lives. Perhaps we already have, or maybe it has yet to reach us, but it's something all of us will suffer through. We can find comfort in the fact someone out there has felt what we are feeling, and we are not alone. We form deep connections and bonds with people, and when they dissipate, we feel immense pain. That is because if we love, we will grieve. That is life. Let's see. Recently, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg lost her husband to a tragic treadmill accident while vacationing in Mexico. She took her Facebook to write a personal post of the loss of her husband. Sandberg chronicled how she's dealing with the loss and the lessons she has taken from it. The people who were moved by what she wrote have also felt the same all-consuming grief she is feeling. They were able to identify with her agony over the losing a loved one. Although losing someone is tragic and grief can take over, there's always a silver lining. There can be positive sides to grief. Grief helps us become more understanding of others. We've been told before we need to cut people a break in life. We shouldn't judge them because we don't know what they might be going through. Like I always say, guys, when you have experienced grief and loss, it makes you more aware of people's feelings. You become more understanding of others. You try and remember that when someone is acting like a total jackass, there could be a deeper reason to his or her behavior. Maybe we just don't see the full picture. Although in a perfect world, people would always be kind no matter what they're going through. You can still do your part by trying to understand people even if they aren't being nice to you. When times are tough, our strength shines through. Have you ever noticed that the strongest people you know have gone through hell and back and still standing? We learn to embrace our strength when things are going poorly and when there are tragic events taking place. When we are being tested, our strength emerges and we can show what we are truly made of. We become resistant and ready to take on any challenges life may throw at us. There will always be people who support and love you. When someone passes away, you see communities coming together to help those who are grieving. People visit, send cards and flowers, and attend funerals to show their support. When you are in a low place, a place so consumed with grief, having the comfort of those around you can truly make a difference. Whether it's close friends, family, or even acquaintances and strangers, the love that those kind words are what makes something so tragic a little bit easier. During this time, you'll find people will stop thinking about themselves and their own problems they are dealing with. Instead, they will focus on comforting those who are hurting. Grief reminds us of our vulnerabilities. I think everyone cares about what others think to a certain extent. But have you ever noticed people reveal their true and raw selves when they are grieving? Grief can remind us of vulnerabilities and bring down the walls we have built around ourselves. Last week, I witnessed my friend receive bad news of an illness in the family. This was the first time I ever watched someone outside of my own family receive news like this, and it was heartbreaking. She had been told her grandmother had a tumor and there was nothing the doctor could do for her. As her father relayed the information to her, I watched her face change as a flood of emotions took over. She was trying to process the information she was given, and I could see she went from calmness to disbelief to frustration to anger and then despair. In that moment, I could tell they felt like they were the only ones in the room, wrapped up on their own feelings of sorrow. Watching them both was sad and beautiful. They weren't trying to hide or act any certain way. They were just fully consumed in an outright emotion. Even the strongest people can have emotions of fragility. Grief will give you a newfound appreciation and thirst for life. With grief and healing comes a newfound appreciation for life. You stop taking people and things for granted. You start experiencing life in a new way, and you no longer sweat the small stuff. You learn to let things go. You try and laugh a little bit harder, breathe a little deeper, and love a little stronger. Life is short, so why not make the best of it? And that was all of it, guys. It wasn't too bad. Hold on a minute. All right, guys. I'm going to show you guys a picture of my grandfather. Let's see. Hold on a minute. This is my grandfather, guys. He was just a free spirit. He was a great person. I don't know if y'all could see him real well, but he was standing there dancing at a family reunion. That's my grandfather. And then let's see. And this one is Goofy. Look at him. Because everybody else was wearing hats. He was like, well, I wear a women's hat too, but that's my grandfather right there. He's a sweet soul. He's a miss. I love you, Papa. He was a hoot when I was little. Oh Lord, he scared me when I was a baby because I'm like, I don't know, this guy scares me. He loved wrestling. He loved wrestling, but he would always get a hold of me when I was little. I was a little girl, and he would always pop my pinky toes on my toes. He would, like you would pop your fingers, you know what I mean? Like you pop your fingers, right? He would grab my pinky toe. This little piggy, when I was little, I'm like, I'd try to run from him, and he'd grab me every time and pop my pinky toe. He would, I'm telling you. And then my mom told me when I was little, I was born December 29th. I was supposed to be born December 23rd. Well, I was 6 days late. And my mom, she ate deer meat with me and went into labor. So my grandfather called me, what are the baby deers called? Doe for a long time. And that's why when my mom sees anything that has like Bambi from the movie, the Disney movie, she always tries to get it for me. It reminds me of him. Anytime I see a doe, a baby doe, that's what he called me. Anytime I see a deer, you can ask Rebel this. Anytime I see a deer, I will say, hey, Papa, because he loved deers, and like I said, because I was late coming from my mom and her having birth to me, I was late. So my mom, like I said, my mom ate deer meat and went into labor with me. So of course my nickname was Baby Doe for a while. And so he's the only grandfather I ever knew. And he's loved and he's missed. I just wish I could call him. And he's a redneck. He didn't take no shit, guys. I'm telling you right now, you can ask Rebel this. He would fight. It would be World War III in my grandparents' house. If my grandmother, which she did not smoke, but if my grandmother said something about his cigarettes, it would be World War III. He'd smoke like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. And it would be World War III because, like I said, my grandmother did not smoke. And then I asked, like one time I said, Mama, because I didn't call them Mama or Papa. I would actually call them Mama and Papa, which is more like, I guess you could say, older term than Mama and Papa. But anyway, yeah. So I'm like, it was World War III. I'm telling you, they was visiting my mom, and I was asking. And I'm telling you, it was so funny. Rebel was laughing. Oh my gosh. But he was laughing so hard. And he said, might be I don't know. It was a baby doe. That's all I know. I think it was, he nicknamed me Dobie or something like that. Anyway, so I can't remember, some kind of name to do with the deer. Anyway. And so you can ask Rebel this. We would go visit my mom, and of course, he would smoke outside. But I would ask my mama, I'm like, how many cigarettes is Papa smoking? And she would say, he's smoking a lot, And Papa would hear it, and he'd like, woman, shut up. Blah, blah, blah. Don't you talk about my cigarette smoking. Yada, yada. He was redneck, but he was funny as all get out. He was hilarious. He was so funny. He was a great man. Great man. Great Papa. He's the only Papa I ever had. I mean, like I said, I had one, I'm sure, I don't remember. I was like 2 or 3 years old when he passed. So I don't remember. But I'm telling you, it would be like knockdown drag out if you asked about my Papa cigarettes. I'll forget it. It ain't happening. And like I said, my grandmother didn't smoke. So it was like a knockdown drag out if you asked about cigarettes and she said that he smoked too much. He would go slap off. Really, woman? You shut up. Don't talk about my cigarettes and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was funny. They had me rolling. It was so funny. It was so funny. But yeah, and he would love wrestling. He would watch wrestling on the TV, and he'd be punching the TV. He'd be act like he's wrestling WWE or WCW or whatever it was. And I grew up. We would go over and visit them, and ever since I was little, he would always watch wrestling, and he would always watch wrestling. And he would always sit on the side of the couch and get all into it, and I don't know how they do it, but you know what I mean? Like he would sit on the corner of the couch with a cigarette in his mouth and a cigarette in the ashtray, like they was both lit. I'm like, good Lord, Papa. But anyway, he'd be fighting the TV screen. I'm like, Papa, it's on TV. You don't have to fight the TV screen. He said, no, I'm wrestling with him. He'd be on the edge of the table or the edge of the couch, just giving him hell. And I'm like, okay, Papa. But yeah, he'd have you rolling. Oh my goodness. And the stories, oh my gosh. I love to hear the stories. The stories are great because sometimes you have no idea what he's talking about, but it's still great to hear. And then he was a hoot. You can ask Rebel that. He was a hoot. A hoot. It absolutely crushed me that he is missed. He suffered he had a lot of health problems. He had COPD real bad. I think he had emphysema, and he had heart problems. He was a diabetic. I mean, like he had a lot of health problems. He had a messed up back, stuff like that. So, but this could be triggering, guys, but I'm just kind of telling you guys. He would work in a garden. They have a garden behind the trailer that they lived in, and he would always tend to the garden every morning. My grandmother, he would have a cup of coffee, black coffee. He would have a cup of black coffee. I can't do the black coffee. I've tried. I cannot do it. But anyway, he would have a cup of black coffee, and then my mama would make him some breakfast, like a good hearty, like, eggs, biscuits, gravy, something good hearty breakfast. And then he would go outside and tend to his garden behind their trailer, and he would have, maters and corn and green beans, and just right. It's a regular garden. And that day, I mean, it was early in the morning, but that day he come back inside. He told my grandmother that he was going to just sit in his chair and like just rest, and she went to the doctor, and she came back and he was still in the same chair and he wasn't breathing. So he went peacefully. He went peacefully. So that's a good thing, and he didn't suffer. But he was a great man, I'm telling you. Yeah, I wish he was here to tell you guys, Lord have mercy, y'all be rolling. These stories he had, oh my goodness gracious. It's like Rebel's mom, she had some great stories too. Oh Lord, they would both got along perfect. They'd have been the best of friends. They would have, I'm telling you. Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, that's the truth. But I'm just saying, that man is so missed. He was a little fella. His favorite color was blue. Like I said, he loved to fish. He loved to hunt. He had, when I was little, he had this big old deer head. I guess he mounted up in the living room, and I was scared to death. I was like, I am not going in there. I was petrified to go into, I think it was in his bedroom or maybe living room or something like that. I was petrified because it was a big old deer head with big old horns, and he had his hats chilling on him. His country's all get out. But anyway, so it was a big, humongous deer head mounted on a piece of wood, that they mount, and its mouth was open, and it had like several, I think it was a 16 point or something. Like it had a bunch of antlers, a buttload. And my grandmother still has it, but he would always hang his hats, or he would lay his fishing pole on top of it, or something to that effect. And it would scare me half to death when I was little. I'm like, that thing's blinking at me. I'm like, and now I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, you little sly devil. You got me when I was younger. Now I know what you are. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm telling you. He's definitely missed. Definitely. He's definitely missed. Okay. Let's see. Thank you guys so much for being in here. It really means a lot to me. Thank you guys so much. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe if y'all haven't done so. Thank you guys so much for being in here. I'm sorry sometimes that I have my moments, but it sometimes it happens, and we're only human. We're not perfect. We're only human. So, unfortunately it happens. But I just really feel, and I miss my papa, but I really, I'm glad that he's not sick no more, because he was really bad sick. Like he wasn't in hospice or nothing like that. He fell asleep. He just fell asleep. He was comfortable. He was in his recliner. He just fell asleep. But the way, like, I just so feel like my heart, it kind of earns, like not earns, but I get, because I feel so much for everybody. I'm one of those, like everybody says I'm an empath, but I think I'm stronger than an empath. Like a highly sensitive person, like we went over, is actually stronger than an empathic person. They feel every emotion, every emotion. They feel every emotion and feel strongly, like a caring, like even though they don't know that person, they still kind of have like a caring about them. They feel for them, and like I honestly, my heart hurts for the families of those 5 innocent people that were on the Titan submersible to go to the Titanic. It actually, like, it's very sad. It's very sad. Like I know it was probably a slim chance, and that's a decision that they made on their own. But it's just heartbreaking just to think, that it imploded. I think it was called imploded, where's pieces. And I was talking to Rebel, and because I don't know, they were saying that down in that ocean where the Titanic is, there's nothing alive there. I don't know. I've never been down there. I don't plan on going down there, because obviously, I'm just saying, it seems like traumatic things happen if you go down there. So I'm not planning on going down there. No. But I'm just saying, that unfortunately the Titanic, in that area, took more souls. And I asked, and like I've been kind of researching to see if maybe they will, retrieve the bodies. I don't know. And trigger warning, guys. Rebel said there probably is not any to retrieve. I'm not really for sure, because of it being in the ocean. I don't know. I had to kind of look, and my curiosity got the best of me, guys. And if y'all don't know what input in that, not explode, but implode is, it'll mess with you. I I was informed what it was, but of course me, because I think out of the box and have to look at stuff, and it's traumatizing, and I just always have to do that just to see exactly what it is. I pulled up what it was, and it's, yeah, trust me, I don't want to pull up what it is. It's very traumatizing just to watch for just a split second. It's very, 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 very. That's why my heart like earns. Thank you, Jennifer B. Honey. But my heart, like, I feel so. And like, like we don't know them personally, but we could still pray for them. We can still lift them up in our prayers. We can still send out good vibes, just to, because you never know. This is YouTube. You never know. One of their families might be watching this one day. So, we don't know that. So hopefully, I'm just saying, I lift the family up in my prayers and my thoughts, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I really feel for you guys. I'm so sorry. I mean, it's just, it's truly heartbreaking. It truly is heartbreaking, guys. Okay, Jennifer B, happy birthday, girl. Well, on my time, I don't know if it's your time, but on my time, because we celebrating at my time, it is 12:04 a.m. So it is your birthday. It is June the 23rd at 12:04 a.m. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. We love you, Jennifer B. Happy birthday to you. Woo, woo. And here we go. I got to play it. I got to play it. I play it for everybody. Bells. Happy birthday, Jennifer B. We love you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to dear one. Happy birthday to you. From good friends and true. From old friends and new. May good luck go with you and happiness too.
Happy birthday, girl. We love you. I know it's 2 hours early, but on my time frame, it is June the 23rd. So I'm just kind of going towards my time frame. I told you that I would get it played. Thank goodness that you're not. I don't know if y'all have Ryan's there. We're like, happy birthday. We're so glad you came. Yay. I could never do that. That's embarrassing. I had that done to me several times, and I'm like, I'm going to hide in the chair. I can't do this. It's very embarrassing. I can't do it. Hello, Steffi. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well. Well, we can say happy early birthday because it's still not technically your birthday for another couple hours. But on Eastern time, it's your birthday, sister. And in Australia, it's already your birthday, girl. It's June the 23rd in Australia. I do know that. And if we have any people from England in here or the UK or oh gosh. What is that? Oh my goodness. And the people overseas, it's already your birthday, girl. So happy birthday and we love you. Rebel said the Titanic has 1,500 lives lost. Not the Titanic has a total of 1,505 now. So very sad, guys. It's heartbreaking, guys. It truly is. Like I just feel, and like I don't think it's a bad thing that I guess you could say empath or highly sensitive person, whichever I am. But you just feel, because we're human, we have feelings. You can't help but feel for them because you're constantly watching to see if they're found. You're constantly watching to see if they're found or if there's any updates on it or anything. And then it's heartbreaking. It truly is heartbreaking. I told Rebel today, I said, babe, they said that they found some debris. And then I told them what it was when they first came out, when they said they found the debris. And they said what it was. And he said, that don't sound good. And then a couple hours later, they said that's when they pronounced them and said that 5 main pieces of it was 5 main pieces. Exactly. That's my thoughts. Absolutely. They needed to make the Titanic a national treasure and no visits. Absolutely. Save them innocent lives. I know everybody wants to see Titanic, good old gravy, but you can look at it. You can look at it from above. You don't have to physically be down there because it is very you're not just hurting yourself, but hopefully they didn't suffer. They're saying it went quick, so I'm hoping that it did. But you're it's also, you're the families that you're leaving behind, and then them not, I mean, trigger warning, guys, I'm just saying, and not being able to possibly retrieve your body. So how are they going to, they'll just have to give you like a celebration of life type thing, but you don't have a body. I mean, trigger warning, I'm just saying, like if they can't by chance find the bodies, I mean, they're in the ocean. Anything could happen in the ocean. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be trigger warning. I'm not trying to be graphic, but Rebel said, babe, there's sharks. I'm like, I'm trying not to think that way. But if their family is not, if they're not found, which they said they're still going to search, I don't know. But they said if they're not found, how you're not going to have full closure, I mean, that's my opinion. You're not going to have full closure. You can't very well have a graveyard or dumping of the ashes or whatever your choice may be, because everybody's entitled to their own choice. Trigger warning, guys. I'm just saying, you can't very well have it at the ocean. I'm just, I don't know. And then it just breaks my heart it breaks my heart for all of them, but it really breaks my heart for that 19-year-old. It truly, truly breaks my heart for that 19-year-old. Hold on a minute. Let's see. Yeah, they said it if they bring it up. Yeah, I see your comment, Jennifer B. They said something about, because I kind of did some research. I'm like, well, why can't they bring it up? And they said if it's brought up, that it would deteriorate because it's been under the ocean so long, and all the erosion and everything. If they tried to bring it up, which would be an act of Congress, I mean, they couldn't. They was going to try to figure out how to bring up a little submersive. And the Titanic's humongous, but they were just saying if they by chance brought it up in pieces, it would basically just diminish, like deteriorate. It would turn it, I guess, to dust. I'm not really for sure. I don't know how that works, but I'm just saying, just kind of just leave those souls alone. You should have left them alone. Period. You could have went deep sea diving somewhere else. You didn't have to go that deep. I'm just saying, guys. All right. Hold on just a minute, guys. Now let me see. The wood is too fragile and the air would destroy it. Yeah, they said, what was it? There was like 1,600 feet or 1,300 feet or something like that away from the Titanic's bed or whatever it is. We love you, Jennifer B. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If by chance they brought it up, which it would save a lot of lives, I do believe, in my opinion. We could just go see it and say, okay, here's some pictures. We didn't have to go down to the bottom of the ocean and risk certain lives. Yeah, just saying. I'm just saying. It's scary to think about. So that's what I said. I'll just watch the picture. I'll watch the Titanic that has, the one in the 90s, because it actually has real pictures of the Titanic. You can look on YouTube and see the pictures of the Titanic, and I'm sure they have them on TV. So I mean, I have to stay right here on land. I'm good. Plus, it was $250,000 a person. I mean, in my opinion, is your life, and they have to sign a waiver saying how dangerous it could be. That your life, I mean, you could possibly die. Trigger warning, guys. I'm just saying. That's what I ran across. That's what I drove across. That's what I read across, that they had to sign a waiver, and there was a chance. But $250,000 a person, your life is way more than that. Your life is priceless. That's how I feel about it. It's not worth $250,000 for you to go missing in the ocean and bad things happen and you can't come back up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And a lot of people backed out of it. Because they was concerned of the safety. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Prayers for the family, because they're not going to never have full closure unless maybe I ain't trying, trigger warning, guys. I'm really not trying to be graphic. I'm just saying, unless something was found of each, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how imploded means, if there's people in it. But what I seen on a YouTube video, they was just kind of testing out what an imploded was. They didn't have nobody in it, and it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. So I said, if you want to watch it, I would highly advise that you didn't. But I was just kind of curious, and curiosity killed the cat, as the old saying goes. So I had to be I'm like, what exactly? We know explosive. We know that. And then they would really be able to see it if it exploded. But imploded, I didn't really know what it was. So, of course, I did some research on YouTube, and yeah. And I won't show it on here. And like I said, they don't have nobody in it. And it wasn't really so much a sub, but it was showing what could happen. And so I would just leave that not coming on here, just in case. And y'all can search it if you want to. I'm just saying, if you don't know what it is, it's crazy. It's very, very, very sad. It's very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. Absolutely. And you just feel for the families. Wait a minute, guys. Can't see, it's so stinking dark. Okay, guys. Oh, Lord. Hold on a minute, guys. Oh, my goodness. Hold on a minute. All right, give me just a minute. It's absolute. It just breaks my heart. And my candle's still burning for them. It's burning for my pawpaw. It's burning for them. Now I'm going to try to keep it burning as long as as long as it'll stay. And the little purple one that I had, this little purple one is, had a little itty bitty wick. So I didn't think that it would be, stay on for too long. But it's the thought. It's the thought. It's a thought, guys. Like I said, this one's blue. I don't know if y'all can see it now. See the blue? Blue is my Papa's favorite color. All right, guys. I'm going to read this to you because I don't know why certain videos won't play on my stream on this, but they won't play. I don't know why. It's very weird. I could try to play it, but if it acts all crazy like it has been doing, I'll just read it to you guys. Okay, it says 19-year-old Titan passenger was terrified before trip, his aunt says. Trigger warning. Let me put this up here. It shouldn't be much of a trigger warning, but just in case, guys. and I cannot pronounce his name, and I truly apologize if the family is watching. I am so sorry. So that's why I'm going to try my very best to play this video. It's no disrespect. It's just certain names I have a hard time pronouncing. So it truly is no disrespect at all. I do not mean any. If by chance y'all do eventually watch this, it is no disrespect at all. Okay. I will try my very best to play this and let it play so we can all listen.
Passengers on an undersea sightseeing trip to the resting place of another disaster, the Titanic. Today, the Coast Guard announcing a remotely operated underwater vehicle located debris on the ocean floor. The Coast Guard says it's consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the small vessel. The tail cone found just 1,600 feet from the Titanic shipwreck. The sub's titanium hull apparently succumbing to the crushing depth of more than 2 miles beneath the surface. The sub operator, OceanGate, in a statement saying, "Our hearts are with these 5 souls and every member of their families." But the tragedy already fueling difficult questions about the pursuit of extreme adventures and the cost and demand on others when they go wrong. Tom Costello has late details.
Heartbreak in the North Atlantic. After 4 days of searching for that missing mini-sub named Titan and the 5 people on board, this morning a Canadian deep-sea robot spotted debris from the sub just 1,600 feet from the wreckage of the Titanic, the very destination it was headed for on Sunday.
The debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber.
A catastrophic implosion in the extreme pressure at nearly 13,000 feet below sea level.
The size of the debris field is consistent with that implosion in the water column.
In a statement, OceanGate, the sub's owner, said, "Our hearts are with these 5 souls. We grieve the loss of life and joy they brought to everyone they knew." Stockton Rush, the founder and CEO of OceanGate, billionaire adventurer Hamish Harding, French sub and Titanic experts Paul-Henri Nogelet, wealthy British-Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, and his 19-year-old son, Suleiman. Suleiman's aunt says the teen was terrified, but went along to bond with his father.
He had a sense that this was not okay, and he was not very comfortable about doing it.
The Coast Guard says the U.S., Canada, France, and Britain will have to determine who will investigate and whether to recover the victims. So close to Titanic's final resting place, where 1,500 people died in 1912. Still to be determined who pays for the search and potential recovery. The company had been diving to the Titanic since 2021, charging customers as much as $250,000 for the experience. But a former employee and other submersible experts had long warned the sub was not certified to dive so deep. In 2018, the chairman of a committee of 38 concerned submersible experts wrote to CEO Rush, asking him to adhere to our industry-accepted safety guidelines and protocols for ultimate success. In 2021, Discovery Channel host Josh Gates decided against taking the sub down to the Titanic for his TV show.
I just felt as though the sub needed more time and it needed more testing, frankly.
Investigators don't yet know why the sub imploded. It might have simply surrendered to the crushing pressure nearly 400 times what it is at sea level. Perhaps a fatigue crack developed in the titanium carbon fiber shell after so many deep dives.
It's really hard to imagine. It's one Empire State Building made of lead sitting on top of you at that level.
In a hauntingly cruel twist of fate, Stockton Rush's wife, Wendy, lost relatives in the Titanic more than 100 years ago. Now her husband has lost his life in those same deep waters.
And Tom, we're getting late word now the Navy may have actually detected the sub implosion days ago. What more do we know?
It's awful.
That's right. The Navy tells NBC News that at about the time that contact was lost with that sub, its underwater detection system picked up acoustics that would be similar to, consistent with an implosion or an explosion. But because they wanted to hope for saving lives, they continued with the search and rescue operation.
Is that not awful, guys?
During this day of ceremonial honors showering the world's most populous democracy.
It is so sad. It is so sad, guys. It's so sad. It's so sad. And then here's the thing. Hold on. I'm not going to read all this, but it says, oh, guys. Right here it says, days before the Titan vessel went into the ocean off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada, the 92-year-old university student accompanying his father on the expedition expressed hesitation about going, his aunt said in an interview Thursday. Like I said, I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names. I don't want to mean any disrespect to them. It says, informed a relative that he wasn't very up for it and felt terrified about the trip to explore the wreckage of the Titanic. But the 19-year-old ended up going aboard OceanGate 22-foot submersible because the trip fell over Father's Day weekend, and he was eager to please his dad, who was passionate about the lore of the Titanic. I am thinking of Solman, who was 19 in there, just perhaps gasping for breath. Trigger warning, guys. It's been crippling, to be honest. She said in a phone interview from the home in Amsterdam she shares with her husband, Jonathan. And there is the father and the son. Rest in peace, both of you guys. I'm so sorry. Rest in peace. It says she was devastated on Thursday when OceanGate, the company behind the Titan expedition, confirmed that all 5 passengers aboard were presumed unalived. The U.S. Coast Guard said that debris in the search area was consistent with catastrophic implosion. I feel disbelief, speaking through sobs. It's an unreal situation. It says the last 4 days were agonizing. She was glued to the television news coverage for the hunt for the Titan, desperate for the updates about her brother and nephew and fearing the worst. I feel like I've been caught in a really bad film with the countdown, but you didn't know what you're counting down to. I personally have found it kind of difficult to breathe thinking of them. Oh, bless her heart. I never thought I would have an issue with drawing breath, she added. It's been unlike any experience I've ever had. And then this is the father. Rest in peace. And then here it is. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Okay, it says in a statement, parents ask people to keep the departed souls in our family in your prayers and thank the search teams for their untiring efforts. The immense love and support we receive continues to help us endure this unmanageable loss. The father was absolutely obsessed with the Titanic from a young age. When they were kids in Pakistan, the Dawood siblings were constantly watching the 1958 film A Night to Remember, a British drama about the sinking of the cruise liner. She recounted that when the father met her husband, he asked if they could sit down and watch a 4-hour documentary about the Titanic. I also love going to the museum exhibits featuring artifacts recovered from the wreckage. She was not surprised when she learned that her brother had purchased tickets for the OceanGate mission. It was not something she would ever do. She explained, if you gave me $1 million, this is what she said, guys. If you gave me $1 million, she said, I would not have gotten into the Titan. That's what she said. Spent part of Thursday afternoon looking at old family photos, trying to make sense of the tragedy that befell my brother and nephew and grappling with the emotional ripple effect around the world. I feel very bad that the whole world has gone through so much trauma, so much suspense, she said. Is that not so sad? Said her nephew was reluctant to go on the Titan expedition. Hold on a minute, guys. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to find one that's not. Trying to find. Let's see. I can get my internet to work. It wants to be crazy. Well, do. Okay. Okay, it says relatives of Titanic victims criticize dark tourism of Titan submersible expedition. Let them rest. Families of victims who perished in 1912 sinking of the Titanic have questioned the moral aspect of an expedition tour to the wreckage that is now lost at sea. The U.S. Coast Guard, along with Canadian Navy, continued grueling search for 5 passengers aboard the Titan submersible. Past the deadline for their supply of oxygen, OceanGate, the company that operates the submersible, projected that the crew had 96 hours of oxygen or available oxygen after Titan went missing on Sunday, which has raised fear that they ran out of oxygen around 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Coast Guard's officials said on Thursday afternoon that they have found debris field near the search area. Nothing that develops will be discussed during the press conference later that day. Meanwhile, the company behind the tour, which has launched expeditions to Titanic since 2021, has faced backlash over safety concerns and the dark tourism associated with the trip. Says some family members died in the Titanic sinking, characterized the Titan tour as morbid, and characterized the hefty price tag passengers paid to see the side of the wreckage. It says, I compare it to looking at inside a grave. I mean, people died there tragically, very tragically, while making a place for people to go see. Deceased bodies are there, or what's left of them. Let's see. Uncle's, I cannot pronounce his name, but I'm just kind of reading it to you. He was 17 and 20 when they drowned, or among the 1,500 victims who lost their lives in the tragedy. Most bodies have never been recovered because, according to experts, it's nearly impossible to reach the ocean floor where the remains are scattered. It says the ship is out there of what's left of it, and it's just a peaceful sight there right now, or as peaceful it can be. If my soul was there, I wouldn't want people coming down to take a look at me. I don't feel that it would be a very comfortable situation to have people just looking, oogling. It makes no sense. It says, urge potential visitors in the future not to travelize the tragic events that took place inside the ship. If you're going down there, just revere the Titanic as a grave. Ms. Harris told CNN, as a place where you know a loved one is. I mean, for us, it's our uncles who are loved who are loved ones, but there are many other loved ones who are there, and it's obvious by the shoes that are being found in the jewelry and the plates. She added, just by looking at the Titanic, you could see the tragedy and the violence. They passed away by violence. They didn't pass away peacefully. It was like they fell asleep and woke up the next day in heaven. And that's the Titanic, guys. Good night, Demetrius. Thank you so much for coming in here. This is the Titanic in 1912. It says, aboard the Titan, our CEO and founder of Ocean Gate Expedition, Stockton Rush, British billionaire explorer Hamish Harding, and renowned French driver Paul Henry, and I cannot pronounce his name. I am not trying to disrespect anybody, but I'll just say Paul Henry N, because I cannot pronounce his name. And Pakistani businessman S. Dawood and his 19-year-old son S. Dawood. The watercraft submerged on Sunday morning from his support vessel to travel to the Titanic wreckage, which sits about 12,500 foot deep. About an hour and 45 minutes later, the Titan lost contact with surface ship, the Polar Prince. Although the deadline for available oxygen has passed, the search for the missing submersive continues. OceanGate co-founder told CNN that the crew would have realized days ago that the best thing they could do is ensure the rescue is to extend the limits of those supplies by relaxing as much as possible. Based on the crew members' expertise, the window available for the suspect rescue time is longer than what most people think. At this time, however, it remains a mystery what happened after the submersible lost contact with its mothership. Experts have theorized the vessel could be stuck in the wreckage of the Titanic, floating on the surface if an emergency option was activated, or could have possibly imploded already, which it did implode. This is a little bit, I think this is information that came up, I believe, was yesterday. It says the Coast Guard announced on Thursday that the ROV, or remotely operated vehicle, discovered a debris field near the Titanic wreckage and the search for an missing submersive. It is unclear whether debris is believed to be linked to the Titan, and experts with the agency will address the findings later on Thursday. Hold on a minute, guys, and I will, since I'm already doing this, I will pull up the some more information on it. If people that haven't heard. Let's see. And hopefully this one will play. I'm hoping. I don't really know. I will try my very best. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try.
I can't reach the internet right now. Check your modem or router connection and try again.
Hey, Google.
I can't reach the internet right now. Check your modem or router connection and try again.
She's so rude. Hey, Google.
I can't reach the internet right now. Check your modem or router connection and try again.
This thing's crazy. All right, sorry about that. I'm going to try to play this. I do not know if it will play, but if it doesn't, then I'll just read it. I'm trying to. There we go.
There's no Titanic wreckage in that area. And again, 200 plus meters from the bow, and consistent with the location of last communication for an implosion in the water column. And the size of the debris field is consistent with that implosion in the water column.
The debris is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. Upon this determination, we immediately notified the families. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families. I can only imagine what this has been like for them, and I hope that this discovery provides some solace during this difficult time.
Bless their hearts. Let's see. Okay, it says, and don't say all of it, but it says, let me turn this off so it ain't playing again. Sorry about that. It says the 5 people aboard the submersible that have been missing 4 days were killed when the small vessel carrying them to the Titanic wreckage site had catastrophic implosion. The Coast Guard said Thursday afternoon members of the massive internal search effort found a debris field in the general area of the Titanic earlier in the day and was confirmed to contain parts of the Titan sub. The debris is consistent with catastrophic implosion of the vessel. Rear Admiral John Major, commander of the 1st Coast Guard District, said in a news conference. The debris was found at 1,600 feet from the Titanic's bow on the seafloor. Mauger said, adding that it was too early to tell when the Titan imploded. However, an anomaly the U.S. Navy detected Sunday was likely the small watercraft's fatal blast, according to senior military official. The irregularity was picked up when the Navy went back and analyzed the acoustic data after the submersive was reported missing that day. It says the anomaly was consistent with an implosion or explosion in the general vicinity of where the Titan submersible was operating when communications were lost. A senior Navy official told the Associated Press, speaking on the condition of anonymity. The Navy shared the information with the Coast Guard, but the data was not considered definitive. Paul Hankins, the U.S. Navy Director of Salvage Operations and Ocean Engineering, said the debris found Thursday indicated a catastrophic event. He said Mauger said it included a tail cone. Oh, Lord. It included a tail cone, the end bell of the pressure hull, and the arc end rail, which, according to Hankins, basically comprise the totality of the pressure vessel. The 22-foot vehicle was unadapted to the Titanic site when it lost contact with the support ship Sunday morning. OceanGate, the company that operated the Titan and whose CEO, Stockton Rush, piloted the watercraft, issued a statement saying the travelers have sadly been lost. Yeah, it was a game. It was a game controller, guys. They said it was a game controller. That's what they said. We grieve the loss of life and joy they brought to everyone they knew, the statement said. The other 4 people believed to have perished was Pakistani businessman S. Dawood and his son S. Dawood, British Avenger Hamish Harding, and French deep sea explorer, and Titanic expert Paul Henry Ian. I cannot pronounce his last name. Our hearts go out to the family, loved ones of those who lost their souls on the Titan, the White House said in a statement. They have been through a harrowing ordeal over the past few days, and we are keeping them in our thoughts and prayers. says debris field discovered early Thursday. Search and rescue teams or crews remotely operating an underwater vehicle had discovered debris near the Titanic early Thursday, the day the submersible was expected to run out of oxygen. The debris was found by a remotely operated vehicle, or RFV, associated with a Canadian vessel, Horizon Arctic, that reached the seafloor and began searching for the submersible early Thursday, according to the Coast Guard, which said ROVs will be used in continual investigation of that will happen. Complex search and rescue mission attracted international attention and involved personnel from U.S., Canada, France, and United Kingdom. Another ROV associated with the French vessel, I cannot pronounce that, also deployed Thursday, the Coast Guard said. The still-running search of efforts came as an updated prediction by the Coast Guard, said the Titan submersible was likely to run out of oxygen roughly before 7 a.m. Thursday and initially had 96 hours of oxygen for a crew of 5. Experts have noticed that the estimates are imprecise. In the end, running out of oxygen was not the biggest problem. I don't think this has any sound, but we could still read it. I don't know why it's not playing anything. Yeah, the Pakistani teen was a student in Scotland. S. Daywood, the Pakistani 19-year-old aboard the vessel, was a student at the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland. The university confirmed Thursday he just completed his first year in the business school there. We're deeply concerned about Solomon, his father, and others involved in the incident. Our thoughts are with their families and loved ones as we continue to hope for a positive outcome. It says submersible previously had battery issues. I don't know. At least 46 people successfully traveled to OceanGate submersible to the Titanic wreck in 2021 and 2022, according to the letters the company filed with the U.S. District Court in Virginia. On the first dive to the Titanic, the submersible encountered the battery issue and had to be manually attached to its lifting platform, one filing said. In the high sea state, the submersible sustained modest damage to the external components of the OceanGate, decided to cancel the second mission for repairs and operational enhancements. Let's see. Arthur L., a retired businessman from Germany, took a dive to the site 2 years ago. Imagine a metal tube a few meters long with a sheet of metal for a floor. You can't stand, you can't kneel. Everyone is sitting close to or on top of each other. You can't be claustrophobic. Hello, Miss Ann. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well, sweetheart. During the 2.5-hour descent and ascent, the lights were turned off to conserve energy, he said, with the only illumination coming from the fluorescent glow stick. The dive was repeated delay to fix a problem with the battery and the balancing weights. In total, the voyage took 10.5 hours, he said. It says underwater noise heard for days. Well, they said more than likely it was that guinea pig's going crazy. It was a like noises of all the boats around, like all the ships and stuff. Prayers, Miss Ann, honey. Okay, this is the ages of the innocent lives that passed away. Okay, I'm going to say their names and I'll hold up the, rest in peace, guys. Stockton Rush is 61, CEO of OceanGate, who has founded the company in 2009. Paul Henry N., I cannot pronounce his last name. I apologize. I don't mean no disrespect, but I cannot pronounce it. 73, a French maritime explorer and director of the underwater research program at Premier Exhibits, RMS Titanic Inc., the only company with exclusive rights to recover the artifacts from the Titanic wreck. Hamish Harding, 58, a British explorer, private jet dealer, and chairman of Action Aviation, a global sales company and business aviation. S. Dawood, which is 48, a member of one of the Pakistan's most prominent families. S. Dawood, which is a son of S. Dawood. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to pronounce their names wrong, so I don't mean no disrespect. Rest in peace, guys. Rest in peace, guys. Let's see. Let me see if I can get like a picture. What does it look like on the inside of the missing submersive? Absolutely, Miss Ann. We love you. We're praying for you, sweetheart. You're strong. You got this. You stay positive. And just know that we are here for you, honey. We're praying for you. And you got this. You're going to kick his time in. I strongly believe that, honey. It says the Titan submersive was about 8 feet high, 9 feet wide, and 22 feet long, according to the OceanGate's website. It's designed to reach about 13,000 feet deep and travel at 3 knots, the company says. The vessel had 5-inch thick carbon fiber and titanium hull and 4 10-horsepower electric thrusters, according to the court filings. Several exterior cameras provided a live view of the outside, and passengers could access the camera views on a large digital display or on a handheld tablet, according to the court filings. Images posted to the website show people sitting on the floor in a small open space with their legs crossed. Science writer and CBS correspondent David Porg, who boarded the submersible for a report that aired in November, told USA Today he was concerned about the vessel's safety. There were parts of it that seemed to me to be less sophisticated than I was guessing. You drive it with a PlayStation video controller. Some of the ballast are old, rusty construction pipes, Pog said. There were certain things that looked like cut corners. Let me see if I can get, if there's a picture. I'm trying to see. Okay, I guess this is what it looks like on the inside. Capacity 5 people, 1 pilot, 4 crew. Life support 96 hours for 5 people. Depth is 13,124 feet. Weight is 25,000 pounds. Speed is 3 knots. So you got outer shell is fiberglass, carbon fiber epoxy hull, camera, titanium end cap, skids. And you got, this is how, I guess this is how you see it. And this is the front view. Okay, and this is how far they went, guys. Okay, this is the top where the boat, what in the world? And I'm losing my mind. Sorry about that, guys. Going my crazy. Hold on. I'm really losing my mind. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Now I'm at here. It says this. Okay, now we can look at it because I thought I had it pulled up. I was losing my mind. Okay, this is what it looks like. It says 5 people, 1 pilot, 4 crew, 96 hours for 5 people, 13,124 feet, weight 25,000 pounds, and speed is 3 knots. I thought I had it pulled up. See, but this is the outer shell. It's the fiberglass, which is right here. I guess that's the, I don't know, 22 feet. There's a camera, the Titan end cap, carbon fiber, epoxy hull. This is a 6 foot tall man. It says 9.2 feet, 8.3 feet, and this is how they sit, I guess. I'm losing my mind, guys. Y'all should have said, hey, we don't see nothing what you're talking about. Lord. Okay. Okay, this is how they kind of subscribe the depth. Okay, there's a ship. This is like the sea. This is the main sea thing. Okay, and this is a little bit below, a little bit past 11,000 feet. An inverted Empire State Building of Statue of Liberty for scale. So this is probably about 1,200 feet, I'd say. Something like that. It looks like about 1,300 feet. Okay. And so we're looking at 3,000 feet giant squid maximum known depth. 4,000 feet is sperm whale maximum depth. 5,000, nothing. 6,000, nothing. 7, yes, keep on going. See how it gets darker? Look at the water. It's getting dark. I mean, you know, that's how they determine it. And wreck of the Titanic is 12,500 feet. That's crazy. That little thing went way, I mean, from there to there. And they said this little thing was real, like, so it's probably like in this area. I mean, I'm trigger warning, guys, but I'm just saying, it looks like, I mean, like where this little thing at the, you know, little picture of it, that's probably where it imploded, I bet. They were probably almost there. Because they said it was like 1,600 feet or something like that from the 1,600, 1,300, something like that from the Titanic's bow. So they were really close. Okay, this is the bow section. This is where the Titanic lies on the ocean floor. Stern section, bow section. Okay, so it's two different. Well, I've never even really seen this. Okay, stern section and the bow section. So it's two. So where it broke off, it's two separate places, as we know. Where the Titanic lies on the ocean floor. Stern is over here. This is 12,500 feet. And this is the bow section. So they said that the submersive was close to the bow section, which is over here on this part right here. The submersive lies along location just east of the bow section. So it was somewhere around in through here. Right in through here. And then this is the C-130 Hercules that was looking for it. One of the jets. And then this was Newfoundland, departed St. John's on Friday. Arrived at Titanic wreck on Sunday. Last known position of submersive on Monday. Because they said it was to the hold on, I'm gonna tell you I'm wrong. Just east of the bow section. Okay. Just east of the bow section. So that here's the Titanic right here. And it was right in through here. The Titanic wreck lies at 12,500 feet, almost 2.5 miles below the ocean's surface. Okay, this was a 7 minute ago update, guys. So I'm gonna read it to you guys, just in case if y'all haven't heard. This is a 7 minute ago update. Missing Titanic sub crew killed unalived after catastrophic implosion. Now this is 7 minutes ago, as y'all see. It says, here's how the Titan submersible tragedy unfolded. Debris from the missing Titan submersible was found in the wreckage of Titanic Thursday, 5 days after the massive search operation was launched when the vessel lost contact with its mother ship. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral John M. said the vessel suffered a catastrophic implosion, killing or unaliving all 5 people on board. This is the timeline, which most of you guys know. And Thursday, this is what happened Thursday. A remote operated vehicle reaches the seafloor for the first time as the new high-tech vessels and medical personnel move to the search site, with efforts reaching the pivotal moment. Around midday Eastern, the U.S. Coast Guard says debris field was discovered in the search area by the ROV and is later assessed to be from the external body of the sub. Ocean Gate says it believes the passengers have sadly been lost. In an update, the U.S. Coast Guard says that 5 major pieces of the debris from the sub have been found are consistent with a catastrophic loss of a pressure chamber. Around 3 p.m. Eastern, Rear Admiral John M. says the vessel suffered a catastrophic implosion, unaliving all 5 on board. The location of the submersible was in an area approximately 1,600 feet from the wreck of the Titanic, and officials say they are working to piece together a timeline of what have happened. And this is what a catastrophic implosion is, if you guys don't know, because I will not, I don't want to make it really triggering for you guys. So y'all can, like I said, y'all can pull up the video if y'all want to. I will not, but I can at least tell you guys kind of what it is if y'all don't know exactly what it is, because I really didn't fully know. Okay, it says, what is a catastrophic implosion? The Titanic submersible found for the Titanic that went missing on Sunday with 5 people aboard. On board suffered a catastrophic implosion. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral John M. said Thursday. The tail cone and other debris from the missing submersible were found by a remotely operated vehicle about 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic, which rests about 1,300 feet deep in the North Atlantic Ocean. The Coast Guard said the debris found on the seafloor was consistent with a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. What is a catastrophic implosion? The opposite of an explosion. An implosion is when an object suddenly and violently collapses on its own on itself. At those depths, there is tremendous amount of pressure on the submersible, and even the tiniest structure defect could be disastrous, experts said. So at pressure, there are probably around 4,000 or 5,000 pounds per square inch, over 350 times the pressure on Earth. Any small leak could cause an immediate implosion, which could destroy the craft. Said Tom Maddox, CEO of Underwater Forensic Investigators, who took part in the Titanic expedition in 2005. Some context: pressure on the surface is measured at 1 atmosphere, which is about 15 pounds per square inch. As you dive deeper underwater, the pressure builds and builds. At the depth of the Titanic wreck, the pressure is close to 6,000 pounds per square inch. Would the crew have known what's happening? With so much pressure on the submersible, the implosion would have happened in a fraction of a millisecond. A catastrophic implosion happens at 1,500 miles per hour. Aileen Martin, a former Navy officer at Professor of Florida International University, told CNN, it takes more than that. It takes about 0.25 more than that for the human brain to even realize it's happening. So the entire thing would have collapsed before the individuals inside would even realize that there was a problem, Marty said. They passed in a way that they didn't even realize they were about to die. And ultimately, among the many ways in which we can pass, that's painless. Recovery chances. When asked about the likelihood of recovery, crew members of the Titan, Mauger from the U.S. Coast Guard said he doesn't have an answer for the prospects at this time, but they will continue to search. This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, he said Thursday. Okay, and this says, here's what they know. The debris, the remotely operated vehicle, found 5 different major pieces of debris from the Titan submersible, according to Paul Hankins. the U.S. Navy's Director of Salvage Operations and Ocean Engineering. The debris was consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber, and in turn a catastrophic implosion, he said. As of now, there does not appear to be a connection between the banging noises picked up by sonar earlier this week and where the debris was found. Timing. The U.S. Navy detected an acoustic signature consistent with the implosion on Sunday and relayed that information to the commanders leading to the search effort. A senior official told CNN, but the sound was determined to be not definitive, the official said. Mager, for his part, said rescuers had sonar buoys in the water for at least 72 hours and had not detected any catastrophic events. Listening devices set up during the search also did not record any sign of an implosion. What comes next? The remotely operated vehicles will remain on the scene and continue to gather information, Mager said. It will take time to determine the specific timeline of events in the incredibly complex case of the Titan's failure, Mager said. The Coast Guard officials said the agency will eventually have more information about what went wrong in its assessment of the emergency response. Mager applauded the huge internal and interagency search effort. He said teams had the appropriate gear and worked as quickly as possible. Coast Guard officials also thanked experts and agencies for assisting with the search for the Titan submersible. This gentleman right here says, I think there's a great, almost surreal irony here, which is Titanic sank because the captain took it full stream into an ice field at night on a moonless night with very poor visibility after he had been repeatedly warned. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Jennifer, honey. Says James Cameron, who directed the hit 1997 film Titanic, has had himself made 33 dives to the wreckage, offered his thoughts Thursday after it announced that the missing Titanic-bound submersible suffered a catastrophic implosion, killing or unaliving all 5 people on board. Cameron added he thinks we're also seeing a parallel here with unheeded warnings about a sub that was not certified. Cameron is an experienced deep-sea explorer who, in 2012, dove to the Mariana Trench, considered one of the deepest spots in the Earth's ocean, at almost 7 miles below the surface, in a 24-foot submersible vehicle he designed called the Deep Sea Challenger. Speaking of his deep-sea dive to the site of the Titanic, Cameron told Cooper, "You feel the presence of the tragedy, and I think that's a lure. I think that's why people want to go and experience for themselves, to feel, to remember history." He added that while he thinks it's important to remember the history, here is a case starkly today where the collective, we didn't remember the lesson of Titanic. These guys at OceanGate didn't. Says, I just think it's heartbreaking that it was so preventable, he said. And here's all of them, guys. Rest in peace. All you guys. We got Hamish, Mr. Harding right here. Mr. Daywood right here. Mr. Daywood, which is his son, or Daywood. Mr. Paul Henry N. And this is Stockton Rush. All right here. Rest in peace, guys. My candle's still burning. Rest in peace, guys. I'm so sorry that happened to you guys. I hope that it went quick for y'all. I really do. I hope you didn't feel anything and you didn't suffer. And prayers for each and every one of you guys' families. Really, truly pray for you guys. I'm so sorry. I really am. I really am, guys. Titanic took more souls, guys. I mean, I strongly believe y'all need to leave things alone. Y'all need to leave things alone. That's just my personal opinion. Leave things alone. And this one, I think think it was this one or this one. I think it was this gentleman right here. Mr. Stockton Rush was the CEO of the Titan. I believe. I think, pretty sure it was him. This one right here. I think so. And he looks exactly like his dad. Rest in peace, guys. Yeah, Stockton Rush, which is this gentleman right here. He was the CEO. That's what it says right here. Here's the where is it at? Yeah, right here. Ocean Gate co-founder. So the loss of the Titan grew includes CEO Stockton Rush, which is this gentleman right here on the end. Right there. And they said that they detected it on Sunday. Well, what? I don't understand. Okay. It just kind of bogs my mind. If they detected it Sunday, why didn't... I'm just saying. It's just my opinion. It's heartbreaking, just thinking about it, because okay, that we have lost souls there, and they know what happened to it, but that they're going to still talk about it, figure out what happened to it, and pull out. They're talking about pulling it up out of the ocean, the Titan, and piecing it together, and pulling it up with that big old thing that dropped down today by the French. That big old camera looking thing, I guess, that had arms or whatever. It's talking about bringing the stuff back up on the ocean floor from the Titan and figuring out what went wrong. Well, if you don't find all the pieces, how in the world are you going to know what went wrong? I'm just saying, my opinion. I'm just saying, y'all now know what happened. Question is, just my opinion. Why didn't you, if you heard something or if you thought that's what it was, why didn't you do a little bit more to figure out if that was what it was? My opinion. My opinion. Then letting people sit there hanging, and they could have already been starting their grieving process in a way. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion, guys. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Why? The question is why? Why? Okay, I'm gonna read this to you because this kind of aggravates me a little bit, because if it imploded, then of course it was already lost. We already know that. Trigger warning. But if it imploded on Sunday, or if they're thinking it imploded on Sunday, it doesn't make no sense to me. Y'all had to wait till that thing came that went deep sea diving when y'all are you got scientists and stuff like that take those little cameras down there. You don't have to take a person down there. You take those cameras down there. What about those people that did the real Titanic movie? They went down there with arms and stuff. There was nobody attached to it. They was up above sea level on a ship doing it with a remote control, picking up stuff and moving it over. Why couldn't you send one of them down there to see if it by chance imploded? Why didn't you send one of them down there? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, guys. It says U.S. Navy detected an implosion Sunday. Officials said the U.S. Navy detected acoustic signature consistent with an implosion on Sunday in the general area where the Titanic-bound submersible was diving when it lost communication with its mothership, a senior Navy official told CNN Thursday. The Navy then immediately relayed the information to the on-scene commanders leading the search effort, and it was used to narrow down the area of the search, the official said. But the sound of implosion was determined to be not definitive, the official said, and the multinational effects to find the submersible continued as the search and rescue effort. Any chance of saving a life is worth continuing the mission, the official said. The Wall Street Journal was first to report the acoustic signature picked up by the Navy. The insight comes the same day as the U.S. Coast Guard announced the submersible suffered a catastrophic implosion, unaliving all 5 people on board. The tail cone and other debris from the missing submersive were found by a remotely operated vehicle about 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic, which rests about 13,000 feet deep in the North Atlantic Ocean. So they was really close to the Titanic. This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the seafloor, and the debris is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel. U.S. Coast Guard Rear Admiral John Mugger, the first Coast Guard District Commander, told reporters in a Thursday news conference. 5 different major pieces of debris from the submersive, known as the Titans, were found in the area, and each end of the pressure hull was found in a different place, according to Paul Hankins, U.S. Navy Director of Salvage Operations and Ocean Engineering. The families were immediately notified. That's crazy. I mean, that's rest in peace again, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I hope that your families can grieve and have some kind of closure, and hopefully they can figure out a way to find. I mean, I don't know if they can, but you can only have hope. Maybe they can find some part of you guys. Trigger warning, I'm just saying, and have a little bit more closure, because I personally think that they're not going to have full closure until they get y'all back where they can give y'all a funeral or cremate or whatever they want to do. I don't. If they can't find the families, then they're not going to have full blown. If they can't find these innocent lives, then how are they going to have full closure? They're not going to, because they're still going to have that in their mind that they're in the ocean, that they're, I mean, trigger warning being a shark came by or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, you know, sad. It's very sad. Rest in peace, guys. Support for your families and good vibes, and we pray for you. You and your we pray for your families, and like I said, I'm so sorry that this happened to y'all. Y'all was just going down there to see, you know, the Titanic, and unfortunately, things didn't work out very good. So I'm so sorry, and I hope, like I said, it went quick and y'all didn't feel anything. You didn't suffer. You didn't, fight. You didn't have a hard time gasping for air. I mean, none of that stuff. It just went, like hopefully it was just quick and you didn't really know what happened, but rest in peace, guys. Didn't know the son hadn't wanted to go. I found comfort and thought they died doing what they loved. Yeah, so that's what I covered. For the aunt. The aunt was talking about it. Yeah. Yep, the aunt was talking about it, and I didn't know nothing about it either. I came across it and I was like, oh my gosh. It's crazy. But yeah. But yeah, that's it's very sad. Yeah, it's a very sad situation, and I just pray for the families. And the importance of grief. So we'll just pray for them, and I'll just say a little prayer for me, because like I said, today is my grandfather's 2-year heavenly anniversary, and it's hard because I miss him. I miss him. I can't help it. I can't help it. I love that man, my papa. So, Criminal Man said, that's what I was thinking too, honey, with it being the ocean. I mean, I'm just saying, with it being the ocean, unfortunately, Yeah, Jennifer B. He said that the only reason he wanted to go spend time with his dad for Father's Day. It's awful. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being in here with me. I'm sorry about the trigger topic, but a lot of people, I mean, this is when I very first started streaming. A lot of people asked me to cover like grieving. And so I'm just told me to cover it today. I didn't know anything about, they didn't even have the story out yet. They were still looking. And something just told me to cover grieving today. Importance of grieving. So I just want to let everybody know, unfortunately, everybody deals with grief sometime in their life, but just know you're not alone. You're strong, as my community post says, and I will, absolutely. My community post says, if y'all haven't seen it, y'all please go by and look at it. It's, I put in a little quote in there, and it says, well, if I can get it. It says, I admire people who choose to shine even after all the storms they've been through. It says, I know everybody has suffered with grief sometime in their lives, but you have to keep going and stay strong and positive, and just know you're not alone in the world, and get you a good support system. It's always good to have somebody to talk to. And like I've always said, you never know what somebody's going through, so be kind, because you have no idea. And don't judge your book by its cover, because you don't know that either. So much love to you guys, and I love you, Papa, and rest in peace, you guys. Y'all have a wonderful night, and thank you guys so much for being in here. And tomorrow is our open panel karaoke night with positivity, quotes, laughing, smiling, with Beachy. Hopefully she's still going to be able to be my co-host. She'll have to message me if I don't know if she's still in here or not, but with Beachy and karaoke, and I'll probably sing some songs, and other people sing some songs. And also, Rebel, if you're watching this, what time are you going on tomorrow for the White Trash Family? Because I know you said you're going to do two different shows. And if y'all haven't got your song in, I think he covered everybody. Well, I'm not for sure. If you haven't got your song in, well, hopefully everybody's putting in their song, because it's a little late now. But I think he's going to try to do it again. Rebel, are you still in here? Put what time you're going live tomorrow for the White Trash Family before I jump off here. I'm not really for sure. Will you be here tomorrow, Beachy, for the co-host Bright Night, Positivity Night, and you playing some tunes and us singing and karaoke and all that? Okay. Well, I didn't want to say you're going to be in here, and I'm like, okay, this is the website. I'm not really for sure what time he's going live. Let me see. I don't know if he's already got it set up. Let me see. Because I don't see him in here. Thank you, Beachy, honey. Let me see. Let's see if he's already got it set up for tomorrow. Nope. Nope, he don't have it set up. I'll see if he'll do a short or something like that to let you guys know, because I think he said he was going to do two different ones. He was going to do one at like 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. or something like that, or 6:30 to 8:30 or something like that. And then he was going to do an earlier one to kind of space it out, because it's only letting him play the songs for 2 hours, like 2-hour time zone. That's all he can do. He can't play no music. YouTube, I guess it's YouTube or something. Won't let him play no music or requests after that. So, y'all, if y'all haven't subbed up to that, go sub up to that. I'll see if he'll do a short or something like that and let you guys know. But it's definitely what it'll be happening tomorrow. One, I believe, is at the normal time. Yeah, he's doing 2 split shows, so he has enough time to, you know what I mean, to see if that'll work. I think he's doing 1 show. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the 1 show starts at 6:30 or 7 p.m. Eastern, and I think he's doing an earlier show. So y'all just gonna have to be on the lookout, guys. And then, of course, we go live tomorrow night is the open panel Bright Night with Beachy, my co-host. So she's going to come in here and play us some live music. And then we're going to have some karaoke and positivity and laughs and all the good stuff, all good vibes. And we're just going to have a good old time. That's tomorrow night between, I think I set up like 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's tomorrow night, guys. So I hope to see you guys there. Y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for being in here. Thank you guys for being there for me. It means so much to me, guys. Truly it does. Truly it does. It means so much to me. And prayers for the family, the families of the victims of the Titan submersible. You know, much love to them, and our thoughts are out with them. But y'all have a wonderful night. I will see you guys tomorrow. My time is 10:30 p.m. Eastern for our open panel, Bright Night, positivity, all that good stuff every Friday. That's what we do. And then, like I said, Rebel, of course, we're going to do the White Trash Family Bonfire. I'm just not 100% sure on the time. So y'all just please go over there and check it out, because he's probably already went to sleep. So please go over there and check it out, and hopefully we'll have it set up in enough time to let you guys know. Yeah, y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you guys so much for being in here. It means so much to me. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Let people know about our positivity channel and our awareness channel. We're growing, guys. We're growing. We are at, I will tell you, we are at 563. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you guys so much. And happy birthday, Jennifer B. We love you. Hope you have a wonderful day. And now it is your birthday, girl. Now it is your birthday. Woo woo. Happy birthday to you. We love you. But yeah, love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful night. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Love y'all. Virtual hugs.